Nothing works. Working people are poorer while having to deal with the highest tax burden in 70 years. This is the highest taxing Parliament in history. 14 years of using working people as an experiment for their failed economic dogma. And this week, Rishi's recession. Easy to say before you've had a drink. And it's not just 2 quarters of decline, it's 7. The longest period of economic decline on record. Our economy is now smaller today than when Rishi Sunak entered 10 Downing Street. And guess what? They want 5 more years. The Tories failing Scots is hardly new. But what might surprise more people is the depths to which the SNP have also plunged. The former First Minister, promising bereaved families live on television she would retain all records, while the very same day mass deleting those very records. The current First Minister, protecting a health secretary who took the public and Parliament for fools. And that's not even to talk about the cover-ups, the secrecy, the police investigations. So let us use this moment to reject the politics of division and deliver long-lasting change. Conference, I believe we can deliver. As Anas reminded us just a few times yesterday, electing a Labour government is the change that Scotland needs. Almost exactly 100 years ago, the very first Labour government was formed. It was a period of changing prime ministers, a cost of living crisis and Russian misinformation. 100 years later, some things never change. But it was also a great period of Scottish Labour history. When you look at the Scottish election map of 1924, it looked a lot like we'll need the map to look in 2024. From coast to coast in the Central Belt, it was a wall of red. The first Labour Prime Minister was a Scot. His Home Secretary, who introduced the landmark housing bill, was the MP for Glasgow Shettleston. And the Labour MP for the Gorbals introduced the first attempt at Scottish devolution. Scots then were at the heart of the Labour government, and they must be again. In Scotland, this is the choice for voters. We can either send a message to Westminster, or we can send a government, and I say we send a government. Because, Conference, despite only being in power for 30 of those 100 years, we've achieved fundamental change for the country together. Conference, think of how you felt this Friday morning, waking up to the news of 2 more seismic Labour by-election victories in Kingswood and Wellingborough. And imagine, just imagine for 1 second what that feeling would be like waking up the morning after the general election to see a Labour government. Keir walking up Downing Street as Sunak packs his bags. And how good will it feel for Scotland to lead the way in getting rid of this Tory government? So, Mr Sunak, if you're watching, and I doubt it, call the election and put yourself and the country out of this Tory misery, and call it now. Conference, the entirety of the Labour movement and others should join us to send not just a message to Westminster, that achieves nothing, but a government. Because as my political hero John Smith famously said, all we ask is the opportunity to serve. That's the change Scotland needs. Conference, let's deliver it together.